In this episode, I award Princess Vivi the badge of excessive violence for delivering such powerful slaps to Usopp's face.
Welcome to the journey. Welcome to the crew. We think we're pretty funny, and we hope that you will too. This is the opening song to season 2. It's where the journey really starts because we've made it out of East Blue. We've got our snacks and we've got our friends. Now it's time to discuss the anime that never ends. Yeah! Start the show!
Hello, fellow adventurers of the Grand Line, and welcome to episode 34 of King of the What Now, a podcast where we discuss One Piece. I'm Joel, long-term fan. Also, I'm standing naked in the snow to show you that I mean no harm.
And I'm Curtis. I'm half bison, half human, but all exposition.
But what are you in relation to the show? Joel is a longtime fan. What are you?
Oh, I'm a bison. He's half bison, half human.
And as we all know, bisons weren't allowed to watch anime until recently, and so
I'm a short-time fan.
A new-term fan, yes.
Excellent. Okay, and I'm Kat, the ghost of the podcast, and also a witch who can't just stop talking about other people's business.
All right, fantastic. If you are just joining us, we just finished watching 4 episodes of the anime. Those were episodes 82, 83, 84, and 85. That's partway through the Drum Island arc, and it starts with Dalton's resolve, Wapple's forces land, and ends with Dream of the Outcasts, the Quack Dr. Hiruluk. Or Hiruluk. Hiruluk, thank you. Different places will translate differently, and I believe we've talked about this before. The L and R's in Japan can be pretty difficult to translate.
Yeah.
They make the same sound. Okay. So where we last left our daring heroes, Luffy and Sanji were trying to take Nami to the top of Drum Mountain. I want to say Drum Island, that's technically true, but the island, or the Jeez Louise, the very steep mountain at the top of which is a castle in which Dr. Kureha has been known to live. And they encountered some Lopins, which, as Curtis and I found out between episodes, is actually just the French word for rabbit, so cool. And the big Lopins, the parents, were jumping up and down in order to create an avalanche. Mm-hmm. And now, we go to Curtis, our correspondent, to talk about
the weather.
And the episodes more in depth in terms of what happened.
Well, Joel, I'm reporting today from Drum Island. Mm-hmm. Today, the forecast is a chance of avalanches. It will be very deep. It will bury villages and potentially Straw Hat crew members.
Yes, okay. Oh, the other thing too. That's not actually where the episode ended. That was the last scene we saw of Luffy and Sanji and Nami. The actual last scene was Dalton jumping off of his horse and transforming into a frickin' bison.
Yes.
Go on.
Yeah, that didn't lead to much actually. But okay, it's a primary storyline here. We've got Luffy and Sanji trying to get Nami to the top of the mountain. The Lopins are trying to stop them because they're Lopins, and they start an avalanche. So now, instead of going up the mountain, Luffy and Sanji are running down the mountain to get away from the avalanche, right? In the process, all of the villages at the bottom of the mountain get buried in snow. Mm-hmm. Many of the Lopins get buried in snow. Sanji gets injured and also buried in snow, and Luffy manages to grab onto like a ledge that's sticking out and keep him and Nami out of the snow. Afterwards, he goes and fights Sanji, and now he's carrying both Sanji, who's unconscious, and Nami, who's unconscious, and he continues up the mountain.
He does one important thing.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Okay.
He's on his way. He encounters a baby Lopin who's trying to dig out his mama Lopin, who's buried in the snow. He pulls the mama out for him and saves the mama. And then he keeps going up. And then Wapple interferes and tries to stop him. And I think he just... Oh, no, that's right. At this point, because he saved one of the Loppins are now on his side. The Loppins attack Wapple and his 2 guards.
Whose names are Chess and Kuro Marimo.
Yes.
Their names are very important. We're definitely going to remember them forever.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. The funny-eared guy and the guy with the afro. Those ones. So the Loppins intervene, and then Luffy manages to keep going. He gets to the mountain, and he climbs with his bare hands while carrying Nami and Sanji, and he gets to the top and passes out. And at this point, the doctor finds him, but first, a half man, half reindeer finds him. And we find out later that is Chopper, who is a reindeer who has eaten the human fruit, which allows him to be human. It means he can walk on 2 legs, and he can
talk.
He can also like change his appearance.
Yep.
So like he goes from either being a little tiny reindeer, or earlier we saw him like on all 4s in more of a reindeer form.
That's right. Yep.
And then he can also be this super big buff, mostly human guy with like just a lot of fur.
Mm-hmm. And to be clear, just in case anyone isn't watching these at home for some reason, normal Chopper form, that's his default form, is the little guy. He's basically plush doll sized. And then the big giant man form is taller than Luffy and Sanji and can conk them pretty hard on the head.
Yeah, he's like Hulk sized at that point. So Kureha the Doctor and Chopper help heal all 3 of them, Nami, Sanji, and Luffy. They get better. They get the backstory for Chopper, which is that he was an outcast from both reindeer and human society. He was later adopted by a different doctor whose name I've forgotten.
Hiruluk.
Oh, that's right. You said it earlier.
Yes.
Hiruluk, the naked man.
I also believe that I told you to remember that man's name because he is precious to me. Not just for his nakedness, to be clear.
Are you sure?
I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay. But yeah, Hiruluk finds him and adopts him as his son, and he's teaching him to be a doctor, even though he himself is not really a doctor.
He's a quack, yes.
Yeah. His ultimate goal is to heal the entire island, a winter island constantly buried in snow, by allowing cherry blossoms to grow on it. And that will heal everybody because of an experience that he had 30 years ago where it helped him, possibly. Anyways, so Hiruluk heals Chopper, who was hurt by the humans when he was ran out of town.
He tried to go say hi, and they greeted him with guns, which is just wonderful.
Yeah. Once he was healed, so Hiruluk was trying to get him to leave the island and go on adventures and make something of himself, and he went about it in a not so gracious way.
Nope, he did it like all dads in this show do, with indirect messages and violence, and no.
Yeah,
it's not how
he
the
told
men
him,
work in the show.
get out, and then he shot a gun at him, which, considering Chopper's backstory, is extra traumatizing. And so Chopper leaves. Chopper later gets adopted by Kureha, and is where he is now, and actually knows stuff about medicine. Luffy befriends him and wants him to join the crew, but he doesn't want to. He's still attached to this location. That is most of... I think that's the whole plot line with Luffy and Sanji.
I would agree.
There's a B plot where Vivi, Usopp, and Zoro all reunite after Zoro, who has been doing push-ups without a shirt on in the snow, gets buried in the snow. And they get to the village where Wapple's soldiers are, and the villagers want to save Dalton.
Yes, who is buried.
He's buried in the snow and has been shot with 3 arrows by Chess.
Yes. Before
they continued up the mountain to go take on Luffy. Zoro takes out all the soldiers. They find Dalton. Dalton is currently dead.
1 second. Okay. Yep, I would say that's the broad strokes. Catherine, can you think of any scenes that we left out that would be important for the overall summary?
No, I think Curtis pretty much hit it all.
Yeah, I would say so too.
Yes.
Good job. You have completed the summary section. He has emerged victorious, not yet crushed beneath the weight of his own words. I do, because this was near the end of your summary, the one thing that I want to visit first is the scene where Zoro is uncovered from the snow, and he is very cold, and he tries to get Usopp to give him his jacket, and Usopp's like, no, you're the idiot, you got yourself in this situation. And then he sees the bad guys, Wapple's soldiers left behind in the village, and he goes, those are bad guys, right? So we can beat them up? And Usopp's like, yeah, but why would you? And Zoro beats them all up by stealing their swords, and then cutting them down, and then he steals their clothes so he can be warm. Mm-hmm. And then the other funny thing with Zoro is everyone who keeps digging in the snow, they're like, we've got to save Dalton. And Zoro keeps looking around going, who's Dalton? And no one will tell him. It's so good.
Yeah, Zoro is like all muscle, no brain for the most part. And he doesn't, I think people recognize that and they're like, nah, you don't need to know. You did your part.
He's oddly perceptive sometimes, and sometimes he has good sense, but sometimes he's just an idiot. So I understand, but It's just a good bit of comedy where they're like, he's so important. He's just like, who's Dalton? All right, and Catherine, what was your favorite scene from these episodes, past or present?
My favorite scene from these episodes was definitely when Luffy saved the grown-up bunny, the Lapin, because he had no reason to. Like, they were trying to kill him and his friends, but he saw this baby bunny trying its hardest to dig out its mom, and he was like, you know what, I'll take a very brief recess from my mission to save Nami to save your mom.
Yeah. Maybe you could see that the baby was in pain. Like, he was obviously crying and he was obviously very distressed. So that might have gotten past any sort of trepidation that Luffy would have felt. Or maybe he just realized that the avalanche had taken out the Lopin, so there was no reason to fight anymore. But
right. Well, and we've talked briefly before, I think, about how Luffy is kind of psychic. So he could tell these bunnies were fighting their hardest for their dream, which happened to be eating them. But now this baby bunny is fighting its hardest to save one of its crewmates. And so he's on board with that attitude.
How many episodes until we get the Lopin pirates, who are out at sea trying to find the treasure that'll make their Lopin dreams come true?
What do you think the Lopin dream of, Curtis?
Lopping women.
All right.
I do think it's interesting, though, because both of you pointed out that Luffy saved the mom, and I'm not saying that it wasn't the mom, but none of the, because they are just animals, the males and the females look indistinguishable from each other, so I've always seen that as the chief of the village of the Lopin, because it had the scar over its eye, and that's probably just me.
Oh, that's cute. I like that, though. It's the Lopin chief.
There you go, and Luffy's the one who saved
I'm
it.
still gonna say it's also the mom.
It's the Lopin chief and the mom.
It's the strong female character we needed in One Piece.
Absolutely. And we get no speaking lines, so they can't say anything silly.
Can I give my favorite scene?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was when Usopp, who is buried in the snow, is uncovered by Vivi, and she's trying to wake him up, but he's like, oh, I see a field with beautiful flowers. And she's like, no, that's the afterlife. Don't go there. And she revives him by slapping him until he wakes up and brings him back from the edge of death. And then afterwards, his head is like 3 times the normal size because it's all swollen.
Lumpy, he's bleeding out of his nose.
Oh, I feel like my head is swollen. She's like, no, that's just the snow, I think. That happens on Winter Island.
And then, okay, 2 more jokes that come out of that. When Zoro pops out of the snow a couple feet away, firstly, he's talking about, I swear I just saw a field of flowers. So it's a callback. And then he looks and he says, oh, hi, Vivi. And there's this scene. It's like 20 seconds of silence zooming in between Zoro and Usopp. And then eventually Zoro goes, is that you, Usopp?
Because Usopp's nose twitches.
Yeah, he recognizes the nose. He doesn't recognize the lumps that is Usopp's head. I love the Lapin scene. That is one of the scenes that touches me dearly. I think that's absolutely wonderful. It shows what kind of a person Luffy is. It shows that he's a kind-hearted individual. I love there's a scene where Kureha is chasing Sanji and Luffy through the castle and threatening to eat them because she's very protective of Chopper and they were threatening to eat Chopper. Those were great. All of Chopper and Nami's interactions. Nami shows her, like, more maternal side in these episodes. But Hiruluk is just my favorite character. He's weird. He wants to help people, but doesn't seem to understand that he can't help people. He basically ransoms a person by being like, take this medicine. He goes, no, please think of my family. Don't give me any medicine, because they know that he's not good at being a doctor.
And he turns him into a frog person.
Yeah, he really does.
Eventually, we find out that Hiruluk was a master thief before he got sick and all of his backstory. But that means he has no medical training. He just thought, I've been healed. I'm going to heal some other people. And he doesn't care if he's doing a good job or not. He's doing his best.
Yes. It might be slightly premature to talk about this, but I think that we've seen all three of them enough that you would be able to understand where this observation comes from. Chopper basically has two parental figures, first in Hiruluk and then in Dr. Kureha. Kureha has a heart of gold, as we talked about in the last episode, but she's definitely more callous on the outside. She doesn't show it as easily, but she's very good at medicine, whereas Hiruluk, terrible at medicine, but he's very open-hearted about this is what it means to be family, this is what it means to show love to people, you are my son. And so the dad gave Chopper his dreams, not dreams in the sense of something to pursue, but he gave him the world is this magical place and the sight of cherry blossoms can heal the soul, which doesn't have any scientific evidence, but it gives him kind of the hope that we see so often in One Piece. But Kureha gave him the actual intelligence he needs to be able to follow through on that. And it's it's a beautiful way that they play off of each other. Mm-hmm. Okay. And with that, we move on to my favorite question. Did any of this feel like filler to you?
All of it. Chopper isn't real.
Okay, Chopper doesn't exist. And Nami's still sick. This is all just a fever dream after she passed out on the ship.
We already determined that the rest of One Piece is just a fever dream.
That's true. Okay.
At the end of it, she's going to wake up. Or die. One of the two.
Okay, no, but seriously, did any of it feel out of place?
No.
It was all relevant to the story. I agree. Do we have an MVP for these 4 episodes?
Lop Mom.
Okay, Lop Mom's pretty good. MVP for being there for her child?
And for Luffy. Her adopted child.
That's okay.
That's
she
just all
did.
the Loppins. Paying Luffy back for his. I kind of want to name Kureha as MVP.
Kureha's pretty great
because she is taking care of Dr. Hiruluk in the flashback. She's taking care of Chopper, even though she knows the Straw Hats probably aren't going to pay her because they're pirates. She's still healing Nami, and I don't know. I like Kureha a lot. Heart of Gold. I want to be her when I grow up.
It's very interesting how all of as far as I can tell, the parental figures of One Piece are very eager to encourage their children to go out and pursue their dreams. So when Nami asks Kureha if it would be okay if Chopper traveled with him, Kureha basically goes, sure, if it would make him happy, and maybe it would make Chopper happy. We don't know. He seems to have some relation to pirates because as soon as Nami mentioned that they were pirates, you could see his eyes kind of go like, huh? And he goes, are you really pirates? So there's something there that we haven't yet explored. And, I mean, we don't know how the backstory plays out yet. We know that Hiruluk, geez Louise, Hiruluk's story does not end happily, but we don't know how it ends. So we still have at least one more episode of explanation to come.
Do you guys want a really easy way to remember Hiruluk's name?
Okay.
Okay, he's a lucky hero.
Hiruluk. Okay.
Now do Kureha.
Ha, she's cray.
But it's Kure.
Like crazy, but Kureya. I did my best. What do you want?
Thank you. That I will not use that, but I appreciate the
Your
effort.
mnemonic techniques are 50% effective. We can say so far from these 2 names that...
Yeah, because the other guy was Lucky Hero. Luck Hero, right? That was his name, Luck Hero.
You say it and then you flip it. Hiruluk.
So okay. So he's got that hero luck.
Yeah, there
he's
you
hero
go.
luck.
There you go. I want to ask the next question.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Curtis.
Yes.
What do you think will happen in the next episode?
bigger Loppins. I'm just going to keep answering Loppins to every question.
All right, but for real though, do you have any predictions as what's going to come about because of their actions?
Yeah, so Wapple's going to show back up because we haven't seen him since the Loppins tried to fight him and he took him out. Mm-hmm. My assumption is there is a different way to get to the castle on top of the mountain other than climbing up the mountain, because Wapple, if you don't know what he looks like, he doesn't look like the mountain climbing type. So there's got to be another way to get up there that Luffy didn't know about. So he's going to show up to the castle.
Not only that, but when Luffy showed up, Kureha said something like, did he really climb that mountain?
Yeah.
So there has to be a way for people who are normal and not Luffy to get up there.
If there was another way, why didn't Dalton tell them? The witch lives on the top of the mountain. Also, look for the stairs on the east side of the mountain.
Well,
maybe Dalton wanted to test their courage.
Maybe.
Or the stairs were pretty obvious and Luffy just didn't notice them.
That sounds like something that Luffy would do.
There's like an elevator that says, this way, up the mountain. And he just walked by it.
That's such a Luffy or Zoro thing to do.
But yeah, so Wapple will show up, and then they're going to have to confront him. I'm curious to see what they do to finally get Chopper to come along. So they want Chopper to join the crew. Initially, Luffy asked Kureha, and he said, hey, old lady, do you want to join my crew? And then she kicked him into the wall for calling her old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she doesn't, the life at sea doesn't interest her at all. Mm-hmm. And she has important work. I think she's had something like that. So, yeah, it looks like Chopper's probably going to be our man?
Our reindeer.
Our reindeer? There we go.
Our rain man. No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, so I'm curious to see what happens with that. I don't really have a prediction on that because I'm not exactly sure what's holding him back. Like, I think it's mostly his attachment to Kureha at this point, right?
Well, there's that, but also Kureha kind of explicitly said because of his history with people, he doesn't really know what friendship is and he doesn't really trust people.
Mm-hmm. So maybe in some way, Luffy or the crew is going to demonstrate friendship towards him, and then he will be like, okay, I will go.
Perfect. Let me ask this another way. So we got a little bit of a, oh my goodness, what are the words I'm looking for? We got a sneak peek of the fighting style of Wapple and his two lieutenants, I guess you'd call them, his advisors. We got Chess, who seems to be a very good and excellent marksman. We have Kuro Marimo, who he has spikes come out of the hairballs on his fist. Mm-hmm. The afros on his fist. That's kind of weird. But he's a punching guy. You got a punching guy with spikes. You got an archer. You've got Wapple, who seems to eat things.
Yeah,
I guess.
Didn't he eat the
munch fruit?
That's right.
I love that fruit so much. But in the
so
castle,
munch.
What?
So munch?
Yes.
You love it so much?
Oh man, I always give him such thoughtful things to think about. I have these deep discussions with Wapple because he's a real person and obviously I can talk to him, and he just kind of sits there and he munches on them for a little bit. He turns them over in his head. Okay, no, we're done with puns.
Okay,
there's 3 of them, and in the castle we currently have Kureha, Luffy, Nami, Sanji, and Chopper. So 5v3, do you think that 2 of them will team up to take on one member of Wapple's crew? Do you think Luffy will single-handedly beat all of them in one punch?
One punch!
I'm curious what so Nami is still technically bedridden, even though she's not that sick anymore.
That's right. She has to stay in bed for the next 3 days, I think.
Yeah. My guess is she will stay in bed, and either Kureha or Chopper, probably Chopper, will stay with her, while the remaining 3 fight the 3 villains.
Okay.
At some point, one of the villains is going to get to the room, and Chopper's going to have to try to defend Nami.
Ooh.
And then, Luffy or Sanji's going to come to the rescue.
Okay.
What kind of fighting style do you think we can expect to see from Chopper?
He just smashes.
So you think he gets real big, and he just smashes people's stuff
I mean, that's what he did to Luffy and Sanji.
That's
he just
true.
punched them into the ground.
because he's not food.
Yes, he's not food.
Do you think that he could possibly use his horns as some kind of impaling instrument?
Oh man, imagine Chopper sword fighting with Zoro, but with his horns.
I mean, it's a shame that he can't, like, they don't detach. Use them as a weapon.
That would be true anime style if you had horns that you could just like boop.
like when he goes into human form, they like pop off of his head, and when he goes back into reindeer
just
form, he
get
has to like
stuck
stick
back
it on
in.
his head first.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, I mean, the only evidence I have so far is that he just punches things real good.
Yes. There usually are interesting fighting styles in One Piece, but I don't know if it's fair to ask someone to predict them because they're usually just so random. Like, would you have, if I had said there's a guy who causes explosions, would your mind have immediately jumped to, oh, he flicks his boogers? Like, obviously, that's the next logical step for that kind of an attack.
Yep.
To be fair, I think Curtis did a pretty good job. Like, we've seen that Chopper can change forms, so some sort of Hulk thing happening makes sense.
Yeah, it's the logical conclusion. He might have more tricks up his sleeve, but you don't have any evidence of that. So what I'm saying is that you guessed well from the evidence, but if he does end up being able to shoot fire from his horns or something, like, there's no way you could have guessed that, I don't think.
I mean, he could like inject people with medication.
That would be so cool.
Like throwing knives, but they're syringes. Here you go, have some insulin, your blood sugar will go down. You have some melatonin, it'll make you go to sleep. Is that the right word? Melatonin.
I mean, he could just use a lot of anesthesia.
It's true. That would get into a very dangerous area because you want to root for the protagonist, and if he was basically going around drugging people or chloroforming them, like, you would get into some very bad situations. I don't think Oda would go that route. It would be funny to see, though.
Yeah.
We had a new closing.
We did, yes. Does anyone have any strong opinions on the closing?
No.
I think the most iconic One Piece closing for me is the one where they're all little kids and they're like running and then they're together.
I think that's called Run, Run, Run. I'm not sure.
And
That was the last one, right?
Maybe.
No, it was the one before that.
We've had 4 closings?
We've had 4 closings.
They go through closings a lot faster than they go through openings for some reason.
And then eventually we lose the closings in favor of longer openings.
I like the new opening better than the first opening, I think.
Okay.
It's grown on me. Initially, it sounded like a rave. And
It is a rave.
because I've been to many raves in my life, and I know what a rave sounds like, and this is it. But no, I mean, it's kind of got like that electronic music going, and then but there's one particular scene where Luffy has the flag and he's like holding it and it's draped over his arm, and then the line at that point is we don't want to live ordinary lives. I was like, that bit right there is the best part.
Yes.
I liked that. But yeah, as far as the new closing goes, no strong opinions. I don't really care about the closings either way.
I think that Nami and Vivi are exceptionally cute in this closing only because Luffy smiles all the time, just nonstop, and Sanji and Zoro have their usual expressions of kind of not really showing their happiness, but Nami and Vivi are just like, woo, it's a party, and they just look so happy to be alive, and
Oh man.
I like that. I like that enthusiasm that they show in that closing.
They're just super cute. And it has the penguins that are in the game, Treasure
And,
Cruise.
Treasure Cruise, yep.
Yes, and I didn't think that those were real. I thought they were made up for the game, so I'm glad they have some root in the anime somewhere.
They're also in the movie Madagascar, right?
Not those penguins, but I appreciate the very odd reference joke.
Reference joke.
I recently saw one. I think it was like the second Madagascar movie on in a waiting room somewhere, so it's on my mind.
Okay. That's the relevant topic for today's whatever.
The lemurs were fun.
Does anyone have any more thoughts about any particular scene that they felt moved by or that they enjoyed?
I like the bit. I think this is going to be important. So there's a part where Kureha and Chopper are examining Luffy and Nami and Sanji before they actually get them inside. Mm-hmm. And Luffy grabs her arm and says, "These are my friends." Right? And there's like this...
Please save them.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the fact that he just climbed barehanded up the mountain while carrying them just because they needed help and they were his friends. And Chopper saw this. And later on, Luffy calls Chopper his friends, or like, do you want to, I want to be your friend, or something like that. And I think Chopper is like going to make that connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was an impactful scene for him.
I completely agree. You mentioning Luffy climbing the mountain, I almost wanted to interrupt you while you were summarizing, just so we could be like, can we talk about this scene for just a little bit longer? But they really made the effort to, sometimes they will show a really tall tower and they'll show the character running up the stairs or something, and then it'll just kind of jump to them being on like the 30th floor, and it feels really short, even though logically it should be a really long thing. But they drew out that scene of Luffy climbing the mountain such that you could feel how long it was taking him to go up there. They showed him lose his grip and start to slide. You saw him drop Sanji. They made sure that you understood that this was a painful, difficult task that even someone superhuman like Luffy couldn't easily do. And they showed blood on his fingers, and like, holy crap, this just doubly sells Luffy's determination that we've already seen in so many other ways in that one scene.
Yeah, definitely. To clarify, he drops Sanji and then catches him again.
Yes, sorry. When he drops Sanji, I actually for a moment go, does he drop Sanji in the scene? I don't remember that from the last time I watched these episodes, but it was a while ago. But yeah, he just kind of, he's holding Sanji in his mouth, basically. He has Sanji's shirt in his teeth.
He's climbing with the two friend style.
Now I'm just imagining, like, you've seen those clips from other shows, right? Where the swordsman is digging his swords into the mountain and he's climbing up that way. Imagine Luffy doing that, but with his friends' faces. He's pressing Sanji's face.
Usopp's nose would have the most purchase, I think. It would penetrate the deepest into the rock face.
I think you're right. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Do you think Dalton is dead? You said he was dead, but...
Well, so they said he didn't have a heartbeat. I don't know how much his, what was it, buffalo?
The ox fruit model bison, and we need to talk about that in a second.
Yeah. I don't know how much his devil fruit, like, affects that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It feels like he shouldn't be dead, but I also feel like he's probably dead.
Okay. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe this is clever foreshadowing, because I'm always saying that the show has really interesting foreshadowing. Maybe we'll find out that devil fruit users don't have a heartbeat. So they're like, oh my god, he's dead. And then his eyes will open and they'll be like, what the heck? And you'll be like, don't you know? Devil fruit people are already dead. You get these powers in exchange for your soul. That's why they're called devil fruits.
He was dead the whole time.
Wow. You know, the magic that is that would allow someone to have superpowers while also allowing them to be dead, it does remind me of the sponsor for this week, quite interestingly. So, I'm not going to name names here, okay? I feel a little uncomfortable disparaging certain brands on this company, but I might have installed a security system that was meant to keep a certain type of animal away. And it was advertised as highly effective, and it seemed to work for a little while. This product... the security system was meant to replace a spray that had served a similar purpose. But both of those have failed me now. My family, I have 3 beautiful cats and a dog, and my wife that I love very much. I want to keep them safe from the snakes, gosh darn it. And the security system just isn't doing it. You know, the technology, it just can't keep up with the ever-evolving snake problem. So I got a invitation in the mail. No sender information on there, but it was a plain blue envelope, and when you opened it, it was a blank card. But the more I looked at it, the words started to appear almost like magic. And so that is our sponsor today. It is the snake banishment system, where you can use this, you can sprinkle some dust around the perimeter of your house, and you just have to speak a few words of power, and it will banish the snakes. It will send them away.
Babe.
Yeah.
Babe, I love you.
Uh-huh.
I love that we have these sponsors that help support our program.
Uh-huh.
I'm a little concerned, because I think that sounds kind of like dark magic.
But isn't a little dark magic okay for getting rid of the snakes?
Okay, but like, what if it makes them stronger?
I don't think that it could. That doesn't...
But what if, consider this for a moment, you know, the snakes have found workarounds for all of your previous systems.
Okay.
right? They now have alarms. They open their mouths and emit a sound very similar to the Snake Away security system, right? Before that, they could spray us with a noxious substance. I think they're adapting. And I'm concerned that you're going to give the snakes access to dark magic here.
But the thing is that this is a magic system. First off, magic can only be used by those who can speak words of power. Snakes can't talk.
Okay.
Okay. And then secondly, they've been able to adapt to technology. That's why we can't stop them with these sorts of things. But we can introduce a magical system. I think this will work.
Curtis, you're on board with this?
As an engineer, I 100% support this magic-based snake removal system.
Okay, but listen, if warlock snakes come at us, I'm gonna run. I don't know what to do there. We're just gonna be done. So you can go back to your advertisement. I'm sorry for interrupting.
If warlock snakes show up, we're gonna go, oh my god, they're so cute in their little warlock robes.
Oh, they'll have little snake robes.
But we must remember that the snakes that invade our homes are pure evil. They belong outside, not inside.
Right,
Yes.
absolutely. Even if they're real cute.
All right, back to the episode, Jim. I don't know why I've done that recently. I think I got it from Star Trek, where I will say, he's dead, Jim.
Which is funny,
or
because
they're
you've
not-
never watched Star Trek.
No, Okay, so we were talking, remind me, what were we talking about?
Dalton was dead, but
Dalton
maybe he
was,
wasn't dead.
he had
No
pulse.
heartbeat. They were dead the
Okay.
whole time.
So you expect Dalton should be dead, but maybe he'll come back because, that was that was a lame way for someone to be killed, to be honest.
Yeah, 3 arrows. It's like, I can turn into a bison. Oh god, a mundane arrow. Times 3.
I mean, it was cool the way that he sacrificed himself for the people, but I think that there might be a more meaningful way to make a statement about how benevolent he is or that sort of thing. Okay. So we need to circle back to the new type of devil fruit that we have, all right? It was expressed that what Dalton has is something called the Zoan devil fruit. Now, you hazard a guess that there were 5 types of devil fruit in our famous segment from so many
Yes.
weeks ago.
Yes, the famous, world-renowned, award-winning segment on the 5 types of devil fruit.
Oh, man. It was sweet and sour, edamame, always on, partially on, partially off, but I can't remember what the last one was.
I don't remember. I forgot about sweet and sour, to be
Might
honest.
have been energy.
I remember edamame.
Well, that's because someone might have pointed out the fact that that's not the word that we actually meant. But you know what? It's canon. Once the words are spoken aloud, they can't be taken back.
Hey, you don't know what I meant. I meant edamame.
That's true. Okay, so you thought that there were 5 types of devil fruit, 5 categories, 5 main categories.
Yeah, wait, did I come up with the number 5, or did
Yes,
you give me
you
the
did.
number 5? Okay.
No, you came up with it.
We
Okay.
said, how many do you think there are? And you said 5, and then you gave 2 that were legitimate and 3 that were nonsense.
Okay, guys.
Sweet and sour is a legitimate devil fruit type. Like Luffy, he's sweet and sour sometimes.
I have to ask, since sweet and sour is a flavor, what do you think devil fruits taste like?
It depends on the type. Sweet and
Okay.
sour ones, sweet and sour. Edamame tastes like edamame.
Oh dear.
On and off sometimes, you get some flavor, but then some of your tongue goes numb.
The smoke devil fruit just tasted like smoke.
The rubber fruit was actually very chewy. It was hard to get through. Or the gum, I guess.
I find that hard to swallow. Anyway, so types of devil fruits.
Right. You suggested that there were 5 from the information that you knew.
Yes.
At that point, you had figured out that Luffy's devil fruit works differently than Smoker's devil fruit. And technically, all the devil fruits work differently from each other, but Luffy's and Buggy's kind of seem similar in that they're permanently affected by it, whereas Smoker was sometimes physical and sometimes smoky. We have now covered all 3 major categories of devil fruit. As far as the show has ever said, there are only 3.
Well, yeah, not counting sweet and sour and edamame.
Right. But you have Paramecias, that's what Luffy is. We now have 2 instances of Zoan, which are Chopper and Dalton. Mm-hmm. And then we also have the Logia type, of which we have only seen Smoker. I
Okay,
believe.
so paramecia.
Yes.
That's an actual thing in real life, right? Like
yeah,
a little.
it's like a single-celled organism.
Okay.
So is Zoan.
Oh, and then is
No, Logia isn't, I don't think. I think we looked this up the other day and we tried
I
to
thought it was
figure out.
Lugia.
That is a Pokemon, sir.
Well, that's
which
why
you
you-
can hear all about in our bonus episode going live this month.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, you now have the 3 types of devil fruit. If you had to guess what makes a Zoan fruit, how would you categorize it based off of the characteristics that Dalton and Chopper have displayed?
I would say it allows you to inherit the traits of another species and lets you transform on a gradient between your current species and the species that your fruit is based on.
Yay,
Yep,
Curtis!
you got it. They will eventually say this explicitly. Zoans have 3 forms. They have their normal form. For you and me, that'd be human. You have your full animal form, and then you have a hybrid form.
That makes sense because, okay, so we've seen this for both Chopper and Dalton now. So Chopper has a full reindeer form that we saw when we first saw him when Kureha came into town.
Yeah, when he was the Rudolph allegory.
And then we've seen, so his hybrid form would be the little plushy version.
Nope.
But then the full...
Oh, maybe you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, because then the full version would be when he's all big and buff.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have horns. I was going to say, I
Yeah.
thought that but yes, the form that he mostly walks around in is his hybrid form.
Yeah, and then the same with Dalton. Dalton normally looks human. He turned into a full bison that one time.
And then next episode, he's back to normal. That was weird. Anyways.
Yeah, and then we saw his hybrid form too. I'm a little curious about why he has the ox Zoan fruit bison
Model bison.
or model bison, because bison is not an ox.
Well, so the categories there, I think, are partially like language differences, right? Very small spoiler. Eventually, there's a devil fruit called the cow fruit. Model giraffe. Is a giraffe a cow? No, but
So-
that's the category. It's
So
in.
can there be an
Yes.
ox fruit model
Something
bull?
else that's like a... Yep.
or buffalo maybe?
Well, it's buffalo and bison are the same thing, right?
Kinda.
All right.
Okay.
The zoological things aside, there are different models. That's why he is categorized as the model bison.
Do they come from the same tree?
Because they're fruits.
We don't
Wait.
know how devil fruits work.
Really? Oh, I just assumed. I wasn't trying to make a joke. That was serious.
Oh.
We do not know where devil fruits come from. We do not know how they work exactly, but we just haven't. We don't have the answers.
On the record, have we said the name of Chopper's devil fruit?
No.
Oh yeah, no. I think we mentioned it. In it was we
'Cause
talked about it off
awarded
mic.
this episode.
Yeah, it's the human fruit.
Right.
Because so I asked the question. I'll ask it again in a second. But so he ate the human fruit as a reindeer that lets him turn into a human hybrid, right?
Yes.
And even this is something interesting. Even when he goes full human, he's still kind of like somewhat reindeer-y. Whereas when Dalton goes full bison, he's basically all bison. It seemed like, or mostly.
It is interesting that he doesn't lose his fur as an example.
Yeah.
I think that's just for character consistency. So if you created a plushie of him in his big form, you would be able to recognize it.
Yeah. But the question I asked Joel, and I think this was off mic. It might have been
It
in our
was
viewing data.
off mic, I think.
Okay. I asked Joel, if a human ate the human fruit, what would happen to them?
And Oda gave us an answer in the SBS, which I still don't know what SBS stands for, but it's the question and answers that he does at the end of volumes of the manga. And the answer is, you'd become enlightened.
Which doesn't make sense to me. Because you become enlightened, but isn't the human fruit a Zoan which requires you to have some sort of transformation powers.
So I had 2 questions when I first got this information that I asked Joel. And my first question was what you asked. What would happen if a human ate it? And Joel gave me the same enlightened answer, and that means nothing. But my second question was, are there different models of the human fruit? Because we get these concepts of, okay, there are Zoan fruits, and there are Zoan fruits with different models. And so I'm curious if, like, that would make a difference as well.
The human fruit model Neanderthal?
Yeah, right? Or the
okay.
human fruit model big buff guy. I don't know. I couldn't come up with anything.
We don't want to... The first place my brain goes, and I'm not trying to, but just like the human fruit model... South American, like different regions. That's where my mind kind of goes. So like you would have your form that was your normal, the way you normally looked, and then you would have a fully transformed, and then you'd have like a hybrid form, which would basically be what if you and that other form had a baby or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be odd.
It would be.
Yeah, I mean, I went Neanderthal just because all the other ones are like different species that are of like somewhat similar form, or like similar tree on the tree of life. Or similar limb on the tree
Whereas
of life, I guess.
races aren't separate species. They're all the same species.
I have a theory on the enlightenment thing then. So maybe what it is, if you're a human, you eat the human fruit. It allows you have your normal human form, and then you have a superhuman form where you've basically transcended the bounds of your physical body, and you've so like in terms of like the sci-fi genre, you would have ascended to a higher plane of existence, right?
Okay.
So then you would be like more enlightened because you would be more like in tune with the universe.
I like that. You become like Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen.
Blue naked guy.
Sure. So you become giant and you walk around, without your pants on.
Yeah, and I think you blow up Jupiter or something. I'm not sure. Catherine, one of my favorite things to do with Catherine is to purposely get information slightly wrong or largely wrong. So
I actually have not seen that movie or read the comic other than like the first few pages of the comic.
5-second summary, read the comic.
Totally unrelated. Watchmen is my favorite graphic novel of all time. I read it when I was like 12, and I've never stopped rereading it. It's very good. The movie did a lot of stuff wrong, even though, for the most part, it was word for word the comic.
She's rereading it right now as we speak.
Okay, now, let's get back on topic then. I think if I had to interpret it, I think that... So Chopper's brain, the brain of an animal, cannot process thoughts as complicated as those of humans, I don't think, in general. And so that brain had to get restructured when it ate the fruit to be able to accommodate speech. So maybe when you're a human that's eaten a human fruit, it also gets shifted around to like an even better, maybe it's like limitless. You can think much faster than other people, and you can come to conclusions that seem supernatural, and that's what the Enlightenment means.
Then here's a question.
Okay.
If you're a human, you eat the ox fruit bison model, or model bison, then when you go full bison, do you lose your human intelligence?
No, you maintain yourself. I don't know, I think that like the
human one must be like a special one, right?
Yes, I would say so. There's all sorts of fruits that are like, oh yeah, it does this extra thing. You're like, why does this one fruit have this extra thing? I don't understand. Now, I do want to point out, I want to warn you. Just because you know the 3 categories does not mean you understand everything about devil fruit. If we get to the point where we find out about the star fruit that allows you to turn into a star and blow up the planet, you can't like look at me like, that seems like it's a step above these other fruit categories. It's like, well, it is technically a Logia, but it's just a higher level Logia. Like there's what am I trying to say?
There are power levels?
There's power levels, and there's subcategories in some of them.
Okay.
And so it's difficult to give a definitive answer like, oh yes, you've heard all the categories, because Oda could just pull out another one and you'd be like, yeah, I guess that does fit the broad umbrella of one of the 3 that you've already mentioned.
Though I will say, the thing I really like about One Piece is I feel like its magic system, for lack of a better word, does have consistent rules. Mm-hmm. So while things might seem like really super powered, they are, but they still follow the rules, so it's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no matter what kind of animal you can turn into, no matter what your body can turn into, if you're a Logia, you still can't swim. Tough luck. And the world is 90% ocean, so try not to fall off the boat.
Wait, so if you eat the fish fruit model barracuda,
yeah,
you turn into a barracuda. You can't swim.
Nope.
So you just flop around on shore.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any confirmed aquatic?
The only 2 Zoan fruits that we've seen are the human fruit and the ox fruit model bison. Neither of those are aquatic creatures.
So
stay tuned. Curtis, do you think that there's a fish fruit model barracuda?
Maybe. Wait, real quick. Remind me. So they can't swim in a body of water.
Any standing water.
Can they swim in a river?
I don't know. I don't know.
Here's honestly the solution. You eat the fish fruit.
Model salmon.
You swim upstream.
But salmons have to return to the ocean to spawn, so what do you do then?
You just don't mate.
Your babies?
Well, don't they spawn in the upriver? I thought they laid their eggs upriver. Don't they swim back upriver, they lay their eggs, die.
I'm pretty sure.
And then they're born, and then they go back out to sea.
Their life cycle reversed.
Yeah, right. I think they live most of their life in the sea. So here's the thing: you just don't go to sea. You're like the kid that won't leave your parents' house except in the wilderness, and you just stay in the river
until you're eaten by a bear.
I was gonna try to make a bear fruit joke, but I guess you beat me to it. So here's a question. Let's assume for a second. Just assume that this isn't real or it is real, whichever one makes sense. But if there was a cat fruit person and a dog fruit person, do you inherit the natural animalistic
hatred
relationships, you know? If you ate a I can't even think what I'm thinking of. A clownfish fruit and the sea anemone fruit, would you have a symbiotic relationship with each other?
Well, I think so. Fate is a thing in the One Piece universe, right?
Sure.
Just judging from the theme, at the very least.
Yes.
The current opening. So I think that if you were currently had that relationship with another human being, fate would drive you guys
together
to eating the opposite fruits.
Unless they were raised together from puppy fruit and kitten fruit too.
And then they would get along together just fine.
What if you ate the cat fruit model kitten? And the dog fruit model puppy. So when you turn into your full form, you don't turn into a cat or a dog. You turn into a kitten and a puppy.
All right, are you ready for this? We now have confirmation that Chopper ate the human fruit. We now know that fruits, to some extent, work on animals. What if you fed the dog fruit to a cat? Could you imagine?
Imagine the halfway form.
Oh my! That was on Nickelodeon several years ago. It was from the 90s.
I just realized how you kill a sea demon or whatever they're called.
Sea King?
Sea King.
Okay.
You feed it a devil fruit and it drowns.
That's a waste of a good devil fruit, though.
Yes, but wait, can you get the devil fruit? It reappears, right? Or something?
I don't know. Have you ever seen 2 devil fruits, or have you ever seen anything like that in the One Piece world?
So I'm going to note that Joel certainly does know, but we don't know for the purposes of right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just don't want somebody to come at us on Twitter and be like, well, actually, in this episode, they revealed it, so if you've seen all the episodes, you should know.
So I, Curtis, do not know at this point in the series, and I'm talking very close to the microphone for some reason. I'm going to stop now.
Sorry, I was looking at something on my screen.
Oh, I thought you were put off by my NPR.
Stop! You're arousing me. Baby, I hate to say it, but Curtis can imitate your sexy voice just too well. He figured it out. He cracked the code.
I see.
Hello. That's what we need for our patrons. We need ASMR. And then Luffy strode into the bar and ordered a tall glass of milk.
What if we read sexy fanfic in an ASMR way? And that was a Patreon reward. Please tweet us on Twitter if you think that that's a good idea for Patreon.
I will read one of them in that voice.
Okay. I'm so confused as to how much of this is getting cut. I made one of those jokes intentionally knowing I was going to edit it out. Okay. Back to what we were talking about. Yeah, you could kill a Sea King if you fed them the devil fruit. You have to remember, though, how rare devil fruits are. And we've seen a couple of times multiple Sea Kings in the same area, so you need multiple. It's very hard to get your hands on devil fruits.
I think the better thing to do would be to tame a Sea King. Like, eat some devil fruit that gives you the power over all animals.
What, the Pied Piper fruit or something?
Yes, the pipe fruit. It allows you to play a pipe that tames animals. I don't know. Anyway, you tame a single Sea King, but you make that the biggest, baddest Sea King, and then it pulls your ship and it fights other Sea Kings.
Do you get the Sea King to level 100 and then you go and challenge other Sea King trainers in order to gain the title of champion?
Wow, Joel, what a great reference to our bonus episode.
Oh, sorry. Please say that again.
Wow, Joel, what a great reference to our bonus episode.
It was also a reference joke.
What if... Okay, you make a bunch of flotation devices. You strap it onto a Sea King so it'll float no matter what. Then,
Are you talking about a giant water wing that goes around their necks?
or arms or whatever it has, or fins, I don't know. And then you feed it like the ship fruit, the rocket fruit, the super propulsion fruit, something like that. And then you turn that, then you ride around on that Sea King, right? So it'll float, but it can also move a lot faster than all the sailing ships in the world. You now have the biggest, baddest ship on the seas.
That is.
It can also eat
love
things.
that.
That is
Okay.
great. I thought you were trying to say feed it the ship fruit and the rocket fruit and I was like, that's a lot of fruits to put into one body.
So Curtis inspired me just now. So I have a question for you guys. We have seen people eat devil fruits. We have seen animals eat devil fruits. Do you think objects eat devil fruits? Could you feed your ship the rocket fruit?
Does it have a mouth? The Going Merry does, but the mouth is always closed.
You gotta like saw a little...
A little tiny, and then you put the fruit in the. How does it swallow? Like, where's the stomach?
That's a good point.
Well,
What
because
do you think,
you
Curtis?
clearly don't have to fully digest it because Luffy gained the powers immediately after just putting it into his body. So maybe all you have to do is build the fruit into the ship. And then you get the powers.
I love that. Oh man, what fruit would you feed the Going Merry if you had to pick one? And you can make one up. That's
It would
fine.
lose all of its strength, whatever that means in this situation. What is
if it was
going on
submerged?
here?
But yeah, so it would lose its strength, but it would still float because of buoyancy.
And it doesn't need to be strong. It just needs to
Well,
like.
if you shoot it with a cannon, does that mean now it's super weak and the cannonball cuts through it like paper?
Oh,
We
man.
do know that the deeper you get submerged, though, the more you lose your powers. That's a slight spoiler, but we've already talked about it on Mike. And so I assume that a ship they're not usually very submerged. They're usually mostly above water. Yeah, I think that would be okay.
It would be its mast would be stronger than the keel.
Yeah.
there you
So
go.
again, which fruit would you feed it if you could?
Hmm.
Joel, you can also jump in with an answer if you have one.
I got one. Give me a second. I got to think of the best name for it.
Okay, while you're thinking, I would feed it the spike fruit so that if enemies were coming by, it could just like poof. It's a sea urchin now. It's all spiky.
But you'd run into the problem because objects also don't have sentient thought. And so, I mean, something like Luffy's power would always be made out of rubber, but something like that has to be deployed, like Smoker can consciously choose to turn into smoke, but I don't think the ship could. So it'd always be in one form or the other.
So maybe I would feed it like the hedgehog fruit because then it could turn into a hedgehog, which has
Okay.
thoughts. It could become spiky.
I've got two now.
Okay.
Okay, first one. Well, I guess one of them includes two. So either like the heat fruit or like the bubble fruit, because you could form a layer around the ship so it's not actually in contact with the water. That would also reduce drag, so you could go through the water a lot quicker.
I love it.
And then it should help too with the issue of whether or not you are weakened. Right? Because you're not really, I'm not sure how it works, but you're not in contact and you're not fully submerged or anything. So,
Right, it's your bubble that's in
Yeah.
contact. Okay, what was your other one?
So the other one, you feed it the human fruit.
Hello, guys. I am Mary. Do you want to go on an adventure?
Get inside me, straw hats.
No, it's Ride Me, Straw Hats. Jeez
Oh,
Louise.
God.
Now I'm imagining this giant buff
With
dude
like a stupid goat face.
the goat head, and he's running, and the straw hats are riding on his shoulders.
No, imagine this big giant dude with the goat head leaning over in front of Kaya's house. Hello, father. And Mary comes out. Oh, hello.
Another couple ideas. One, you could throw something into a volcano and give it a power.
I mean, that would probably count as a mouth, yeah.
And then here's a question. So
Okay.
now we've talked about people. We talked about animals. We talked about inanimate objects. What about plants? If you put one of these fruits at the root of a tree,
And it gets digested,
then,
it gets
it absorbs
broken
it. Does that?
Now I'm just imagining like say an apple tree, you feed it, I don't know, the flame fruit, flaming apples.
Yeah. Or you bury it in the ground, give the entire earth the devil fruit power. you bury the human fruit into the earth and make a literal mother earth and kill everybody on the planet.
Perfect.
I like it. For the ship, I think the float fruit would be pretty good. We've had a lot of instances of the ship falling or flying or getting through weird navigation places. I don't know if it would be able to control it, so it would either always be floating or would just float into space, but you could
Weigh it down.
I'm sure you'd find some way of being able to weigh it down. It can't float indefinitely.
Imagine one of those scenes where like the straw hats are talking to somebody and they keep their attention on the person, right? And in the background, the Going Mary starts to float up and Luffy just puts his hand on it, puts
he
it down.
wraps his arm around the neck and just kind of pulls it back
But like
down.
without breaking eye contact
Yeah.
with the person he's talking to. I love it when shows do jokes like that.
Okay. We are getting close to the end of our episode length. I don't want these to go on too long or be too inconsistent in length. So, final thought that you're all mandated to have. What?
Oh, it's a mandate now?
It's a mandated.
Man, this
final
went from being optional to mandated.
No, you're misunderstanding. This is everyone's final thought. You don't get your own individual final thoughts. What animal devil fruit would you want? I really probably would go wolf for myself.
I would say either the cat fruit, model like panther,
Okay.
or the fox fruit.
Yeah. To be clear, I don't think it would be called the wolf. It would probably be
The
dog fruit model wolf.
That was great.
Mm-hmm. We finish each other's
I'm gonna
sandwiches.
guess Curtis will be a horse. Was I wrong?
What?
He's making a
Interesting.
face at me, listeners. Apparently I was
Why
super
would
wrong.
I choose a horse?
I don't know. You seem like a horse kind of guy. Like horses are noble creatures that gallop across the earth. What do you want?
I'm seeing an owl for him.
Oh yeah,
Closer.
Like
I was going to go with
glasses.
some sort of bird. An owl is actually pretty interesting. I like that one. I was going to do like a hawk fruit or something like that.
Okay. The only reason that I thought owl made sense was because I'm pretty sure that we talked about this in the special Ocean's Naval when the guy got turned into a bat, and I think we had a very similar discussion at
Oh
that point.
yeah.
But that was, you got turned into an animal at the bottom of a bottomless ravine, so obviously you would go flying in that case.
I guess in my mind, I'm just like, if I'm going to, be an animal, I want to be able to fly.
Yeah.
That's fair. Here's the thing. If you looked at me and you said, Kat, you're an artist, I'm going to commission you. I want you to draw me my fursona. And I said, well, Curtis, what's your fursona? And you said, I don't know, just make something up for me. Make up whatever you think I would be. I would draw you as a horse. Like, you just give off horse vibes. And I can't tell you why.
What would I be?
It's probably me eating all the sugar cubes and apples and walking around going,
Do you remember that time that we were walking through the neighborhood and the dog barked and it spooked you and you just jumped up and kicked with your back feet and knocked one of us? You almost killed us, man. That's definitely the behavior of a horse.
Or there
You
was
asked me what you would be. First thing to come to mind was snake. That's wrong. I don't think I would paint you as a snake. The second thing to come to mind, imagine like a Labrador retriever, but old, right? Like it's got the graying muzzle and it's kind of tired and like you kind of look
Do you
at
want
it.
to put me down? Oh,
You look at it and it goes, it makes old man grumbling sounds. That's what I would draw as your persona.
I wanted to make a joke about maybe I would eat the crab fruit because then I could have an excuse to always be crabby.
okay, then Joel,
Yeah.
what do you think Cat would be?
Cat would be a cat. I mean,
Okay.
like, yeah.
No, actually, I think that's fair. That's
This is
probably
not-
a good one. That's not just a name thing.
Yeah, this is not the first time that I've ever thought of animal things for me and my wife. I just wanted to get it on mic to see.
Really?
Curtis's thoughts went in a weird place. He's been spending too much time on the internet. And that's the do. Final thought.
Bye, everyone. Outro goes here.
In this episode, I award the Hippocrates badge to the medical duo team of Kureha and Chopper for healing 3 of the Straw Hat Group pirates.
In this episode, I take that badge away from them because Kureha threatened to eat them.
So ends the next leg of the King of the What Now adventure. We're sad to see you go, but we'll be here next week. If you crave some social interaction with us in the meantime, you can find us on all sorts of different media. We have Gmail, Patreon, and Tumblr. All of those are King of the What Pod. King of the What Pod at gmail.com, patreon.com/King of the What Pod, kingofthewhatpod.tumblr.com. Our Twitter handlers are a little bit different. You can reach me at KOTWN_pod.
And you can contact me, Curtis, at Pirate Co-host.
Also, please take a moment to rate and review our podcast on whatever platform you're using to listen. Not only will this help others find the podcast, but your constructive feedback will help us improve the show as we go.
Thanks so much for giving us a listen. Until next time, follow your dreams and protect your treasure.
Remember, it doesn't need to be literal treasure.